Welcome to Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul podcast. Here's your host, Michelle Bolden-Hammond, a life coach who inspires others to find their purpose, a best-selling author of self-help books nationally and internationally, mother and entrepreneur. As you're listening, you may question, how does she do it all? Well, her answer is healthy. Each week, here on Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, the trilogy of wellness, you will hear knowledge discussions of thoughts on intuition, self-love, mindset growth, and living on purpose. This podcast is designed to show you that you are not alone in your struggles, which is a powerful message to share in the whole perspective of life.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your podcast host, Michelle Bolden-Hammond. And tonight we're going to be featured. I'm actually doing something for home base. You know, usually I'm around the world somewhere else, but I think it matters where you say you at home. It starts at home. So I am thankful and grateful that we have someone here who can get us engaged about community. You know, that's like one of my big things. And, you know, like here in Caroline County, we're a little small, rural, little portion of Maryland. Big hearts here, though. But I have here Miss Stacy Gardner, who is right here with us tonight, who is going to talk to us about our community, how we can get engaged in our community. And she's here from SOAR Strategies tonight. So welcome, Miss Stacy.
Hello, Miss Michelle. Thank you for the invite. It's an honor to be here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for saying a yes to the matter. So we're going to be talking about courageous conversations, and it's all going to be around about community. So, you know, when we talk about community, we got to take in account that we have areas, you know, for everything. When we talk about the community, that goes down to housing, that goes down to transportation, food insecurities. It's a wide range of things that can impact us. Schools, mental health. Nobody ever thinks into that. All of those sectors. So, Stacy, first, give the audience who you are and what do you do.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Stacy Gardner, and I work with SOAR Strategies, LLC, that was founded by Kat Stork Blair. Phenomenal lady. Her heart is for the community and bridging the gap with disparities as well as agencies, you know, in our community. One of the things that COVID did do was to show us our weakest points. Living in a rural area, you know, we do great by the resources that we have. Caroline County is phenomenal with pulling together resources to help with the crises. You know, we hit COVID with the ground running. All of our agencies pulled together from the health department, the school system, Rex and Park, and we made things happen for our community concerning COVID, getting everyone tested, getting everyone vaccinated that wanted to be vaccinated. The horror stories that we heard of on the news to where certain communities were not being served. That wasn't our story for Caroline County because we made sure that everyone that wanted to be served had the service because of community engagement, response, and communication and collaboration. So what Kat and Human Services created was the collective impact. So what they did was got together with all the agencies and the leads of these agencies from the health department, the Board of Education, Department of Social Services, community advocates, health organizations like Chesapeake Community Health, and came together and pulled together the data to see where our disparities were and how we could better communicate to bridge the gap in our community. I'm a firm believer that our community is only as strong as our weakest family. So if we strengthen our families, we can strengthen our community. And that's the perspective that we come from. If we want strong communities, we have to strengthen the family unit from the oldest to the youngest, from the youngest to the oldest. Educational wise, the kids act out in school because of maybe something going on at home. So learning to serve the whole person, not just part of the person, but the whole person, that we may become more engaged and strengthen our communities from those areas.
You said one thing too, because in my role, and I'm health department as well, in my role, I see it, the client centered approach, and I think a lot of it. I tell you what, I tell you what I do want, and this is one of the things I talked about it last year. Like you said, children act out because what's going on in the home. And we always thinking that it's a behavior issue, but the behavior is because it might be something that's going on at home. But I tell anybody, even when I have my clients, I always try to express the importance of understanding your ACEs, the adverse childhood experience. If people would research that and just do the test yourself, you can understand. Not to say, now I'm a believer in faith that everything happens for a reason, but also like for instance, some people who have addiction problems is probably based upon that adverse childhood experience. Was there a father in the home? Was you one time you ever witnessed trauma, violence? Those 10 questions people don't realize. And that this study actually was for obesity, but it ended up being something to look into your behavior on in your life expectancy. That thing like jarred me when I saw that, and I really actually learned it from another therapist friend of mine when she said she was all against all odds. She had every 10 on that thing. She didn't have the parents in the home. She witnessed the parents going to jail. She had those things. Those understanding your ACEs is so important. And that's where it says to make community. I think that could be one of the things that we can do. Understanding your ACE night, and whatever it is we need to do it, because if people understand their ACEs, they might understand why they go through these behaviors that they do, or continue on doing these things over and over and over again.
One of the things that I appreciate, I worked with Rex and Park, and they're also at the table, because we do a lot of work with youth with Rex and Park. I was the after school coordinator. I also have worked in the school system as a substitute teacher and IA mentor. I'm a mentor to youth. And children teach you a lot. Children teach you a lot about you, as well. We walk into rooms, sometimes we're biased when we walk into the room. We walk in the room and we judge according to behavior, not because of what we know about that child, that student, that family, that parent, and even when we engage with one another, even with the different agencies that offer service, sometimes we look at people through a different lens. I'm a believer. I'm a faith person. I'm a person of faith, and I have to look inwardly first. So everyone that I approach with, except for grace, there go I. Because I could have been you. I could have been in your situation if it had not been for grace. I still can be in your situation if something flip in my life. And we don't know what caused people to be where they are. But we have to be empathetic enough to step back and say, what happened? This is not who you are, but what happened to you to cause you to be in this circumstance, because a lot of us, our community is built up of 33 3,655 people in Caroline County, the population of Caroline County. Our average income is $58,638. That's the average. So there are so many people still at the poverty line or middle class, one paycheck away from being at the poverty line, and if we're going to strengthen and help our families come out of poverty and have a solid footing, then sometimes we have to step back and take off our titles, take off of our education, take all of that away and just see the person that's standing in front of you and just see what the need is and have the compassion enough to meet the need, and that's what community is about, is meeting the need and helping one another to be whole and to be strengthened, so we won't have the breakdowns in the area. I'm a proactive person, not reactive. I think we should fix a problem before it becomes a problem. We look at the news every day. We hear Baltimore in the news every day about the crime and stuff. If we don't get in front of what the issues are, who's to say we can't be like Baltimore? We too small to get like Baltimore and start killing people, but we have to fix the problem. And I'm grateful to the leadership that is coming to the table, finding out where are our weak points, where are our disparities, how can we fix it? Let's come to the table, get the data on the areas where we're weak, and see how we can move this needle. How can we move this needle to strengthen our community? What areas in our community that we need to fortify? What areas do we need to concentrate resources on to bring them up to a level of success? And success is different for everyone. Success is not going to look the same, but putting forth the work. So my plea is for the community to get engaged. And I look at it as a gift. I love getting gifts, birthday, Christmas, all of that stuff. But my favorite gift is a gift that I can use and one that I want, So when I look at community engagement, I can see what I think you need from my perspective and give that to you. But it's something that you may not be able to utilize, So we can't put the same gift in the bucket. Everybody is not going to appreciate the same gift. But if you come to the table and tell me what you want, what you're in need of, and how we should present it to you, then we could possibly give you what is needed, right? Instead of me assuming what your need is. I'll walk in your area and be like, oh, she have on flip-flops. Let me get her a pair of shoes. Not knowing that you wear flip-flops because you may have a condition to where you can't wear enclosed shoes. But if we have this conversation, then I could probably find something that could protect your feet, but not restrain your feet or restrict the mobility of you using your feet. And it'll be something that you appreciate and something that you use. That's through conversation. So I'm inviting people to come to the conversations.
And you actually, look, last Wednesday, what I love about the initiative too that you guys are doing is that you're bringing it right to the community. See, like you said, we are a royal community. Our transportation system shuts down at 6:00. It's not like the cities that's rolling or weekends. We have transportation issues. Okay, so you're bringing it to the schools. You're bringing it to making it accessible for those to get there, and you also is addressing it. So you're catching the need because again, if it in the northern area, you can't do, the northern area. It's a lot. It's a lot. Right. And we don't have that type of mobility. We don't have Uber. We don't have Lyft, which it will be good, but because we're such a small hope, they won't give us, those aptitudes for people to do that. So, where it can be foundation. Well, we do got DoorDash now in the area. We do DoorDash, but it's just that,
And
and
also,
it
people may not be able to afford it.
right. People may, and yeah, people may not be able to afford the DoorDashes. So you're absolutely correct on that. People may not, because it does cost more than what you could probably get to the grocery store and get to. So, everyone, when she says she likes gifts, I just want to let everyone know, when you come on, please give Facebook the option of StreamYard, or letting us see who your name is when you write your comment, because we do have a giveaway tonight. Miss Stacy is giving away some lovely jewelry tonight, and we're all about giveaways here. So, but we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back to hear more how you, as a representation of your community, can get involved. We are back here at Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. And tonight I am here with striking up the community conversation with Miss Stacy Gardner here of Shore Strategies. So one of the things, Stacy, that I thank you for bringing up, what the population is, because look, I just went to a retreat this past weekend, and a lot of folks were from across the bridge. They have no idea what this rural, community is. I'm like, and I told them, I said, one lady was telling me, she said, all I seen was cornfields. I said, yeah, that's just exactly what you're going to see, a bunch of cornfields and, different things. So I thank you for bringing out that notion on, the population, because we might be small, but that might not be it, because we do have a lot of people who are not from here. We have diversity and inclusion, which should be also important for engaging in the community, because we have two different languages. We have Spanish and we have Creole. We have those population of people from Haiti. We have people from Guatemala, all those different places, Mexico, all over the county too, as well. So how would the community get engaged with them? Because again, language barriers that we have to look at, what you might think, what customs you might not. And that's even dealing with in the schools, because what we're teaching, are we being, is our stuff that we given to them to learn, is that being culturally considerate?
I'm glad you brought that up also. And Haitian, Creole, and Hispanic are not the only demographics we have. We have Pakistani, we have Korean, we have Vietnamese. There are multicultures here on the Eastern Shore. And our community is very diverse, and we try, So again, I invite you to the table. We cannot bridge the disparity that concerns you if we don't know.
She froze up.
Coordinator for Fellowsburg Elementary, so I started learning their culture, learning some of their language, and Miss Lulu has been phenomenal in assisting with that, with interpreting and stuff, even with the health department, and doing, knocking on doors and bringing people in, helping them, educating, and understanding what the COVID vaccine was and where they can go to get it. And we brought that to them also. The health department made sure that we set up clinics in Federalsburg where they could access those. We're not trying to leave anyone out, but if we don't know what you need and how to get it to you to where you can understand it, then we do you a disservice, you know. So again, we invite you to the table, and our leaders have identified 5 different areas where we feel that the disparities lie. And you can join any one of these committee power teams that are putting together the effort to bridge the gap of the disparities. One of them, and they're not in any particular order, is economic mobility, um, workforce, family, workforce and resources, early childhood development and education, youth development and education, and health and wellness. Those are the 5 different committees that the all the leaders had come up with to see where our weak points are and how we can bridge those together. You brought up transportation earlier, and being in a rural town, we don't have the city buses, we don't have the taxi cabs, kind of thing. So that can be an issue for you. Getting to doctor's appointments, getting to your counseling appointments, getting to school, getting to work, kind of thing. Workforce, how are our unemployment rates? You know, how many of you are unemployed and need employment? Because we hear a lot from the employers, they have jobs and not people to fulfill the job. So what can we do to get the skill set up to where we can get these people employed and we can fill the gaps in the economic status of plants and everywhere is hiring. You see hire signs. So what skill sets can we give you, or resources that we can get to you to build your skill sets to make you more employable? um Homelessness is an issue in our area.
Well,
Housing, so housing development is on our priority. Transportation is on our priority. Childcare is on the priority. You can't work because you don't have anyone to keep your kids, you know. So how can we help you in that? What will work for you? What works for me may not work for you. I work from 9 to 5. You may work third shift. You know, you may
right.
work the PM to AM. So how can we bridge that gap? We will look at that if we don't know that there is a gap in that time frame. Education wise, mental health, all of these things are on the table. These are the people that are at the table. What we're missing is the community engagement, the ones that are not department heads, that are not the employers of these different agencies, but the community itself, the ones that's going out with the blue collar jobs, that's working, the ones that need childcare, the ones that need legal assistance, the ones that need recs and parks for the youth, things for the youth to do. How can we help you? Help us help you. And that's what our plea is, and that's what the invitation is.
So we have one viewer. I usually say the name, but it's just saying Facebook user. I don't know who it is, but thank you for your comment. It says people are getting more money from unemployment. Other incentives may need to be offered too. Um, what would you say to that, Stacy?
Well, the minimum wage rate for Maryland is going up steadily. Um, and unemployment is temporary, and that's a temporary solution to a permanent problem, because they're not going to allow you to stay on unemployment forever. So that's eventually going to run out. Then what are you going to do?
Yeah, you're right. And that comment, thank you, Dr. Jennifer Bryant. Thank you. That's my sister girlfriend there. She's from across the bridge. Hey.
And
So
unemployment
yeah,
does not offer health benefits either.
yeah.
So it does not fix every problem. It's just
Right.
giving you funding for some of your issues. It doesn't fix everything.
Right. And it doesn't. And people were getting more because I had some people, family members, it was like, I get more sitting home all day. But now you done exhausted it. So now what do you have? You done exhausted those funds. You're right. That is a temporary issue. But let's go back to this transportation thing. We have the Delmarva Community Services that runs. And you're right. What about those folks who work second and third shift that doesn't have transportation? Um, I don't. That thing has been a problem for a long range, and hopefully there are some new things going on at Delmarva Community where they maybe need to address these areas, because you look at it, it's a lot of folks who might work the third shift. Because I can tell you, I was one of those folks. I mean, I had a car or whatever, but it's down. So what do? I'll spend more gas with probably paying somebody to get to work. And then what if that person doesn't go to work that week? I've been in that situation as well. That person don't go to work that week. Now, I was living in Easton working at the poultry plant at one time. That person don't go to work that week. They're on vacation. Then what do? How are you going to get to work? It's just one of those things. What if they get sick and then they have to leave? Then you're stuck. So I don't know. That transportation thing is really sad. And then in the fact, if you take the transportation, saying you have an appointment at 11 o'clock. Well, in some areas of this side of this community, you have to get on at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's like a 3 or 4 hour wait. So that's, again, and I hear it from my clients all the time. I got to wait so long for the next one, or it shuts down at a certain time when you need to get back. So that is a serious problem. This transportation issue is a very serious problem. It's a disparity in itself.
It is. And we have partnered with some nonprofit organizations. Ms. Wanda Moloch is one of I think it's Angel Wings that she has that operate in helping seniors get to their doctor's appointments. They take them to their appointment and they take them home, so they don't have to wait all day. They have a 9 o'clock appointment, a.m. appointment, and most of them, if they catch the bus, they don't get home until like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And that is not good for our seniors or handicapped, whomever that may be using those services. So Ms. Wanda is one of the other partners, and her nonprofit, in helping people get to appointments and back home in a reasonable amount of time. So we have people at the table, and that's one of the focuses we want to, is to build a resource guide so you will know what agencies have different resources that you may be able to utilize, how you can reach out to a nonprofit organization that can help you with whatever your needs are. And we're trying to consolidate that. That's one of our priorities, is to have everything in one spot, instead of you having to call 20 and 30 different people trying to figure out, how do I get the health department number? And you're calling Department of Social Services, or you're calling Chop Tank Electric trying to get a service from the health department.
Right.
And the health department have a lot of resources, people. I didn't even know until COVID hit and we started working with the nurses of everything that the health department offers, so getting those in a central location to where everyone can access them and where you can get the right services for the right needs.
Yeah, because it can be frustrating. It can be very frustrating calling. Well, let me check with this one, planning and zoning, this and that. It can be very frustrating. And then sometimes I can see how, some of our clients, or, the community people, I can see how it can become frustrated. It shouldn't be frustrating when you're already dealing with an illness, even to the fact of, there's some bylaws too. If you have a car that's licensed, well, what if your car is broke down? What if your car is broke down? If you have, because you have a car in your name, I can't use the MA transportation. I'm not understanding that, because situations happen. And if I could afford to pay for my car, then I can. But most 9 times out of 10, this is a expense that you can't use. So you're right. It would be nice to have some more nonprofits do that. Not just for the elderly. I love the elderly, but we also have some, if it's not a pregnancy appointment. I mean, it's just some things that I know from being behind the scenes, that you have a car in your name. Well, because you got a car registered in your name, I can't. Well, we can't do that. Well, I don't understand. I just don't understand. So those little things like that, those are some barriers that makes it that we need to bring to the conversation about. And one of the good things is that I haven't told a lot of people this, but when I'm coming to you with this, I'm coming to you from the Maryland Health Commission side, because I am appointed on the Maryland Health Commission by Governor Hogan. So I don't tell a lot of people that, but if you look online, you'll see Michelle Bolden Hammond there. But that's good things for me to know, because we're actually get ready to go through a bill to go through to the Senate, to the House in next month. So those are some little issues when we're talking about it. Please, I will be at the table about that, because that's what stuff that I can take back to the state.
And that's a good example, because we don't know everyone experiences. The things that you've mentioned and I've mentioned are things that we've had to deal with either ourselves, or we dealt with it with a student or a client or somebody. So if you don't bring it to us, we don't know what area you've experienced that may need to be a law that's changed, that may need to be something that's written in the policy, that need to change in the policy to incorporate your issue, or to make it easier for you to have these services. We don't know them all. And that's why it's important for you. Your voice matters. Your voice matters. And I don't know if you've been told that it doesn't, but it does. Your voice matters. And we're offering you a safe place to where you can voice what you need, how you need it. And we can find the services that can provide that for you in the way that you need it to be provided, if possible. And just remember that this is not a sprint, it's a relay. There are policies that's been put into place that has been in place many years, that we have to go back now and examine, bring before the legislation to have it changed. Some of them are on the state level, some are federal level. But if you bring it to our attention, we get it into the hands of the right people, they can send it up, like Miss Michelle can write it up and take it with her to the next board meeting, to where they can present it to the governor. Maybe we need to change some of these things in the way that we operate with the Department of Social Services, or the VA, or whatever other services that we may have, the health department, because it's different for this demographic of people. In this area, we don't have the same resources as the city does. So having them to look at it in a different light, we don't know what we don't know, right? And you can't hold us accountable for things that we don't know. You can't hold the agencies accountable for things that they don't know, or things that can't change because it's law or a policy that's in place, that on the local level we have no protocol to change. But if we take it to the state level, maybe it can be changed, and we can get more resources to the people that need it.
And that's a very important thing that you said, because that's one great thing that I do. I do advocate a lot from being on the rural side, because that's some of the view. I've worked in another position before where when you talk about, you just said it, homelessness, people don't have a factor, because what we see from the city is people walking on the street with the signs held up, or you just see them laying out on the street. But I will say, and a lot of people they might write in for me, but hey, this is my show. We have a problem of homelessness here in Caroline County. You know, when that's another thing, when you go to these polls, I will say, when you go vote, you need to vote for these people on what they see about how the community is, because one of the things is I deal with it, so I know there is a homeless population here, huge population, and a couple of other cities around here, and our mid-shore region, there is a problem with homelessness in our area here on this Eastern Shore. This sector here is, and it's funny because someone from another agency from across the bridge who tried to, help somebody, said it's lack of resources here. Or you have people who have to have MAT, which is medication assisted treatment, that recovery houses don't want to accept. So that's a barrier. So if we don't, you have these places, but that's a barrier. You should, and by MCOR, you're not, because now this is what I say, and I'm going to give it out there. So if any of the people who are MAT, I'm just saying, it is your right, because they can go against American Disabilities. Number two, they can go through the Fair Housing Act. Those are some things that you can do, and this is something that we can bring at the community as well for those who receive that service. Those are two things that can be addressed: Fair Housing Act, and also the part of American Disabilities, because that person is on medication for a reason. So you're not taking this person because they're on medication. So those are some ways that you can bring this to a courageous community talk. Those are some areas.
And also come with solutions.
Right.
I don't want to invite you to just we're not just a dumping ground. Okay. Come with some ideas that you think we could have to help the situation. I believe one problem creates a solution for someone else. So say, for instance, I use transportation, and with this disclaimer, it's not in play, but if we had the funding, so if one of y'all win that Powerball tonight, remember, if we had the funding, that could be jobs for someone. If we had the mobility, if we had the resources, that can be a job, and it can meet a need in the same sense. It can meet two needs. I can provide the transportation, and you provide me a job. So that's a problem. That someone else's problem created solutions for them both. So bring some solutions to the table. Try to be a problem solver, and not just dump what the problems and issues are. Because I believe in my heart of hearts, everyone has a purpose. Everyone has a purpose, and you never know what problem you were created to fix until you're presented with it. So don't look at it as something that is keeping you down. It's an opportunity to present you for the solution, for your purpose and your destiny in which you were created. You are not here to be a problem. You are here to be someone or something's solution. So bring your gift to the table. Whatever your gift is, bring it to the table and render it so it can be an assistance to someone.
All right now. So She done said a mouthful. Look, she done said some things. She done said purpose and bring your gift. So look, and we're gonna take a quick break because I have something I want to share that's coming up. So when we come back, we actually are gonna give a gift. Miss Stacy's gonna give a gift. Again, if you are looking at this show, we need you to put your name in after your comment so then I can know who the one to give, because you have to give Facebook the access to with your name or whatever. So, they always have something going on with Facebook. But there's a pretty nice necklace that will be given away on our next. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back to hear more of this courageous conversation. Bring your gift. Welcome back to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. And yes, just to let you know, one of the things is all about health and wellness here. So Meditation Mama will be coming back. Actually, next month, I will be doing a virtual sound healing therapy session. Just look posting for that. And then on November the 19th, we will be having an Afro Beats, and with some friends of mine, we're going to do an afternoon with just a girls' day out with some Afro Beats and understanding some things with Reiki. With Miss Janine, Heavenly Jean will be there in the building, and I'll have more information tuned in coming to that next week. So that's all about the healing, health, and wellness here. So Miss Stacy, so
yes, ma'am.
How are we going to do this gift? How are we going to do this gift? So it's a giveaway time. How are we going to do this gift?
Okay, I have a question for the listeners. I named 5 categories that we were focusing on for our strategy teams. If you can name all 5 and put your information in the inbox, I will be sending you out this gift. Let's see how much you paid attention.
No, but I talked to Stacy about this earlier. I was telling her about I said, usually time I have my guests come up with how to do the giveaway. So you guys heard that. She named 5. So before the night is over, she did. She said all 5. It will say in about 10 minutes. It might have been one good listener right there. But in 10 minutes, they can have a chance to catch the replay of this too. So I'll be searching for that as well. If we don't get it by the end of this night, the person doesn't get the 5 categories. I actually just said one of them just a few minutes ago. So a hint. So hint. So, one of the basic good questions is, you said something about purpose. Just don't dump your idea, but also come up with a solution for your idea. So when you're coming to the community for a courageous conversation, and that brings me to the word value, you want to add value to what you want to, to understand. One, you think it's important that you know your community. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Know your community. In what ways can someone who know their community share with their community?
Um, we offer community engagement in every community, and they are posted in your community. So the places where you frequent, shop, visit, more than likely there's a flyer. And if there's not a flyer, you can go on our website, Short Strategies, to find out where we are hosting our next conversation or committee conversation. But just be present and be present. You know, people need somebody. You know, that's one of the laws of nature. We need each other. We need someone else to help us live. You know, so don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to make yourself available, to someone. It feels good to help somebody. It gives you another sense of purpose when you know you did something to help assist someone to make their life better. You feel better about you. So make yourself available as well in your community. You know, grandma might need a ride to the store. Grandma, can I take you to the store? She might not be your grandmother, but she old enough to be your grandmother. You know, finding out what the weaknesses are in your neighborhood, your block, and how can you help? You know, I had small kids. I had 3 small children, and my husband and I are transplant here because we're retired military. He's retired Navy. So we ended up on the Eastern Shore, one, because houses were more affordable when we first got here. I didn't know anyone. You know, I needed to get a job. I had 3 kids no, one in elementary and 2 pre-elementary, and one was a baby. One was a baby. So that was hardship for me because I, one, didn't know anyone in the area. 2, I needed to go to work, but who I was going to trust with my kids. So that was a problem for me. Being that was a problem, maybe it was a problem for someone else too. So I made myself available to babysit. So that brought income in my home, as well as provided a service for one of my neighbors. And she was a third shift worker. She was a shift worker. So she trusted me enough to have her kids in my home all night. So that fulfilled both of our needs, and that's the sense of community. If we get back focused on being a community, help me and I help you, we can help each other, we can strengthen each other. So your weakness can be an asset to someone else.
Exactly.
Your problem can be a solution to someone else. You come together and you work it out, figure it out. So you have a purpose. You're not a castaway, you're not thrown away, you're not forgotten. You just need to make yourself presentable.
There
Come
it
to the
is.
table.
Come to the table. There's a lot of room at the table.
Room
You
at the
always hear
table.
this. You always hear people say, if I don't have a seat at the table, I create my own table. But while you creating your table, make sure that your table has value.
And
Hmm.
room for someone else to join you at the
Yes,
table.
at the table. Yes.
At the table.
Well, Stacy, this has been a very well. No one has said anything yet, Stacy. So we're gonna see who catches the replay again. You might have to go back and look at this again because there's some nice jewelry that's gonna be given away to one special person. But one person that you brought up, Lulu. Look,
Yeah.
the husband and wife, we used to call them both Lulu. I'm gonna tell you something about them, and I'm gonna tell you how I have seen them evolve. Many moons ago in 1993, again, we have a lot of factory work here. I worked at the time, it was a chicken poultry plant called ConAgra. this is where I met them. We worked together. And now her English wasn't good because mostly more he would speak more. But then I have seen her evolve. She then went on and took the CNA class. We were worked it together in my previous job. It was 20 some years I worked at long-term care. And now they are business owners, and look how she's giving back to the community. I see her here where I live sometime with certain people. When new people come to the country, she takes it upon herself to welcome them. I just love their passion. I just love how to do it. Now he's a part of the community. He has a store owner as well. And that's for the community. They give back, and I love her. I love her whole. Every time I see her, she's like, "Oh, Miss Michelle." I just love them so much, and it's how we reach out. And a lot of people always tell me that, oh, Michelle, you just pick up with people from different cultures. I just tell them I have an international belly. That's all it is. I just tell them that I have an international belly. That's all. That's all. I just have an international belly because I have a world view. I just don't stick to here. I have a world and global view with different people. And just like when I do, people from different cultures we just grass. And I have a good friend who's from Morocco. I have a rabbi that I'm friends with. I mean, all over. So like I said, I have an international belly. I tell people that they get tickled over that. And you do. You have to have that. You know your community, because that's something you never know. What I have, they can have, So, but Stacy, it has been a joy having you here with me tonight. And I look forward to working with you. And tell the audience when, especially those who are here in Caroline, or even if anyone who wants to donate to Shore Strategies, I would, this is something to raise some funds too, that we can get more resources here in the area. So if anybody wants to do that as well. But I know that you have a few more community conversations that's coming. You want to tell the audience when and where they're going to be held.
Okay, we will be in Preston on November the 9th at the Town Hall in Preston. We also have a conversation coming up in Greensboro next month. So be on I can't remember the date right off the top of my head, but flyers will be out. Look at this at your school, your local venues to where you go shop. Flyers will be out. Look on the Caroline County website. Look at your school website, because we're partnered with the Board of Education and the school system, and they post our flyers and announcements for when we are having conversations. Federalsburg will back up probably at the beginning of the year. So we're looking for Denton and Ridgely soon. We're planning one for Ridgely in January. As soon as we have a date, I will announce it either on social media or on one of the county websites. Or you can also look at Shore Strategy website and find our dates as well.
All right. You done heard it here from Miss Stacy Gardner. Again, Stacy, thank you so much for joining me on this courageous conversation about how to be engaged with your community. And again, bring your gift, because somebody needs your gift to be unwrapped in them. And know when you come to the table, make sure it's something that you have value of. So gifts are valuable. Gifts are valuable. And again, you're here for something. You're here for something. Just find out what the purpose is, but you're here for something. So again, thank you so much, Stacy, for joining me tonight here on Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. And thank you to my lovely guest. Again, to those who have watched tonight, you actually will have to go back and catch the replay, because nobody put in the comments, nobody seemed to get that jewelry. So I don't know. Should I get it? I don't know.
No, you're eliminated.
I'm eliminated.
actually on one of our committees, so no.
And I gave a hint to what the committee was. So again, everyone, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys for your thoughtfulness, for tuning in. And again, I just want to say to everyone, if no one has told you that you are loved, just know that you are loved here on Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul. So have a blessed week, and we'll be back next week. Oh, the hearts. There we go.